One more for the week.
This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Internet world, West Alabama, how we doing today on Friday? It's the weekend. Hope you and yours are doing well. Looking forward to a big weekend. Hope you are making plans for the wintry weather. Being weather aware. I know in Alabama it looks fairly mild, so that's a blessing and a positive thing for us. It is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, on the BamaCentral Facebook page. We appreciate everybody who's watching us, who's listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. BamaCentral.com. We are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, ready to have a fun day talking Alabama basketball, talking Alabama football, a little bit of recruiting, a little bit of transfer portal. It's the off season. I think, what are we at, Theo? 225? I think I didn't check it today, but I think we're at 225. If you go to roll call, you can see it. It's like the third bullet item. If you are looking to keep up with it, as Alabama is right around the corner to take on Eastern Carolina. We'll talk about the transfer portal. We'll talk about some recruiting that happened yesterday with Theo Fernandez. We'll talk about Charles Bediako a little bit more. We're going to have a lot of fun here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call Derek for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. The show is proudly sponsored by Purple Turtle Roofing. You can call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635 for a free roof inspection today. They'll come out, give you the peace of mind that you deserve. We're going to have a lot of rain this weekend in West Alabama, so you want to make sure that your home is not leaking. You don't have any leaks in your roof. You don't have any cracks. You don't have any problems and trouble spots with your roof. Call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. Make sure you listen and check out my man Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez __ on the Twitter machine. Keith Connell saying, morning, fellas. Good morning to you, Keith Connell. Roll Tide and good morning. Hope you have a great weekend. If he's still out in New Mexico, not very much winter weather headed his way, but across the rest of the country, massive storms, massive ice, massive snow. So be careful. But we should be actually pretty good here in West Alabama. Just some rain and a little bit of cool air. So should be no problem getting to the stadium on Saturday as Charles Bediako is set to make his debut. There's a lot to get into. Good morning, Theo. How are we doing, sir?
I'm doing good. It's a Friday. This week has flown by. Always great having a short week, right? It feels like things move so much faster, but I'm doing phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. What you getting into this weekend?
I'm going to be anchoring over at the station. I'll be on WVUA 23 and 9. Sports starts around 9:20 both days. I take it most of y'all are not going to tune away from the Tennessee game on Saturday to watch me, but if you guys ever want some sports updates, just go check out WVUA 23. We got some good content.
Don't y'all have don't y'all live stream online?
Yes, we live stream, so you can just go right to WVUA23.com, and there's just a Watch Now tab that you guys can, anyone ever wants to watch the news, it's free online.
There you go. So people don't have to have WVUA in their cable package.
No, not at all.
There we go. WVUA.com.
23.
Yeah. WVUA23.com. Yep. So you can check out Theo Fernandez Sportscast about 9:20 or so. Any live replays on the website? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they do a replay 1 hour later. So I think the replay, unless they are always moving things around, but I think there's a replay at 10:20 as well.
There we go. So check out Theo Fernandez as he anchors the sports at WVUA 23, as mostly, I'm sure, your Saturday coverage is going to be basketball related. And that's really where we'll start. We've talked for the last 2 days about Charles Bediako. We'll kind of put a bow on it for this weekend. Obviously, Saturday is going to be the next chapter, and we'll talk some more about it on Monday. But you've got lots of college basketball coaches upset. You see the Florida coach?
Yes.
Florida coach, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them anyways. Okay,
awesome.
Todd Golden. All right. We'll see what you got. Stephen Pearl complaining about the judge that implemented this temporary restraining order for Charles Bediako was basically, oh, well, if you can just go find a judge to sue the NCAA, you're within your rights. You saw Tom Izzo saying that he was upset, that he was sad, that he was mad. He said, I don't do anything. I don't keep up with it. I just get mad. I just get mad and just try to do my own thing. So Nato, it's making a lot of his coaching buddies upset by pushing the envelope and getting Charles Bediako at least eligible for Saturday, 7:30, Coleman Coliseum. You'll be able to find all the coverage on BamaCentral.com. Theo, I want to predict Charles Bediako's stat line tomorrow. So to do that, I need to look up what he's been doing in the G League, if he's been super effective.
He hasn't played a ton of minutes. I forget the name of the starting center on that team. It's not a Mississippi State center, former player. But they have a center who's played really well, just double machine. And Bediako is a clear reserve player, so he doesn't see the court all that much, and plays, I think, around 15 minutes a game. I believe he was averaging 4.6 rebounds a night.
Yeah, terrible, sad. Okay, so he has 6 games this year. Started one game. You're exactly right. 15 minutes per game, all the way over. Points, 4.3 points. Rebounds, 6.3 rebounds. 6.3 rebounds in 15 minutes, not too bad. 4 points. He's making 66% from the field. He's not a very good free throw shooter right now. 42% from the free throw line. He was 62% from the free throw line last year.
He'll
so
fit
still
right in this team.
So we'll see what Charles does, what he does on Saturday. I don't really know a better way to try to predict this, because it's going to be really tough to think about the minutes, how many minutes he's going to get. If it's going to be 15, if it's going to be 20, I think that's going to be the first place to start, is how long he actually plays. And then really, I don't see him as a huge offensive threat, but you don't really need him to be an offensive threat to be effective. I think he's a very, very, very good defender and a good rebounder. So for us for Alabama on Saturday, let's just stick with the 15 minutes. That I'll say there. We'll say that he's going to play 16 minutes, right? We'll say play 16 minutes. I'm going to say that Charles Bediako scores 8 points and pulls down 9 rebounds with 3 blocks. On the night. How do you feel about that stat line? 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks.
You have him playing 16 minutes.
Well, I don't know a better way to guess it, right?
So that's the thing. I mean, if he gets 8 points, 9 rebounds in 16 minutes, he'll play a lot more than 16 minutes. It's like, you wonder, usually a guy joins a team, okay, he's probably not going to play a ton in this first game, but this is a guy he's in tip-top shape. He knows the system. I see no reason why he can't play 25 minutes. And it's hard to forecast now, obviously. We don't know what Oates is going to do, but why wouldn't, he should probably be the first guy to check in when the first round of subs happen, and then should be on the floor for most of the game as long as this thing goes the way we think it will. And I look at this, right, and we don't know exactly how good he is, and this will tell us a lot. Just as a neutral basketball fan, I'm excited because it'll tell us a lot about the G League, right, and the level of competition there. But the fact of the matter is, the G League is real basketball. These are very, very good basketball players. There are a ton of college stars who can't even find spots in a G League rotation. So these guys are developing, right? They're learning NBA basketball. They are growing as athletes. I believe that Bediako will be a much better basketball player than he was in 2023. So I'm going to go, I look at this from a just, objective perspective, and you should expect Bediako to dominate. Give me 24 minutes, 12 points, 14 rebounds, just stud on both ends of the court.
Well, Aiden Sherrill plays 21 and a half minutes, and he and Amari Allen lead the forwards. Amari Allen 28 minutes, Sherrill 21, Taylor Bobo 21. You got London Jemison is playing 14, Keaton Bristow 12.6, and Noah Williamson 9.6 minutes per game. So I'm thinking 16 just feels right. It's just very hard to predict because you don't know how are you going to view him, Nate Oates, as a compliment and equal to Aiden Sherrill? Are you going to start him? Is he going to take these 21 minutes that Aiden Sherrill has been playing, and you to give Sherrill all of Williamson's minutes and some of Davion Hannah, or excuse me, some of Keaton Bristow's minutes? Obviously, Keaton's going to probably still be out. So that's going to impact things as well. You're probably going to be without Collins, without Davion Hannah, without Keaton Bristow. You might be without Latrell Reitzel as well. So the rotations will be shorter. I just am. I'm just hesitant to predict something super, really wild because of all the unknown factors that you kind of just outlined. You don't know how good he is. You don't know if there's going to be a rust factor. You don't know if he wants to just totally disrupt the team. It's going to be very interesting on Saturday. Like you will be in the middle of the college basketball world on Saturday night.
Yeah, and from Oates' perspective too, like this is a guy you may only have for one game. Why don't you use it to the fullest? But then I also wondered, could him going out and putting up a big time stat line maybe affect the decision making in this court ruling? Like,
if he goes 15 and 15, they're like, oh, you can't play with these children.
Yeah, like James Najee, people have kind of backed up against a little because they're like, oh, you average 4 points. Average 4 points a game. If Bediako goes out there and this is the best center in the SEC through one game, like, okay, yeah, clearly this is out of hand. We can't let these pro players play. So I don't know, but I expect him to go out and have a double-double, Keith. That is my prediction for Saturday's game.
Let's see, what is James Najee actually doing right now? He is Sports Reference College Stats right now for Baylor. You're at 1.7 points, 4 rebounds a game. So really not changing life for the Baylor Bears in his 6 games. Yes, 12 minutes, 1.7 points. Golly. Did he actually play college professional basketball?
He hasn't played in a long time, right? He's been injured. He played in the summer league this summer and then played, I think, 2 or 3 games before getting hurt. So he's been out of it. He was hurt the year before. Najee is a project, right? He is there's a reason that he wanted to go back to college, right?
Played 2 nights ago, didn't score. He got 2 minutes, of action, 1 steal in 2 minutes. On the 16th, Baylor played Kansas. He actually played some time, played 16 minutes, didn't score a bucket, 5 rebounds, 1 steal against the Kansas Jayhawks. So hasn't scored in 3 outings. Didn't score against Oklahoma State either. 3 points against Houston, 2 points against Iowa State. Put up 7 rebounds against the Houston Cougars, though. So rebounding pretty decent. Not an effective scorer, and still looking to find his way over there for the Baylor Bears. I don't know if Charles not going to have a 0 spot. He's gonna find a few dunks. He's gonna find a few alley oops and be able to put the ball in the basket. At least I believe, and maybe that's my own crimson colored glasses, but I believe he'll be able to put the ball in the basket at a pretty decent rate and rebound as well. My biggest question is what Nate actually does with him. Is Nate going to play him? I mean, he said he was going to play him. Is Nate going to play him and ultimately create further confusion, create further problems? Because if you play him Saturday and he goes 12 and 12, whatever, he goes 9 and 10, something decent, something real good maybe, and Alabama wins. But on Tuesday, he gets declared ineligible. You're going to have a more complicated problem because people are going to say, what do we do about this Tennessee victory? Because he ultimately was ruled ineligible. I know he said he's going to play him, but is there any world that Nate Oates is just talking a little bit? Yeah, of course we're going to play him. And then when it comes down to it on Saturday, he leaves him on the bench so that we find out on Tuesday, okay, is he actually eligible the rest of the year? Is he not? We gave up the 1 game against Tennessee, and he is eligible, so we'll play him the rest of the year. What do you think? Like, do you think that Nate is going to be true to what he said to the field of 68 and actually play him?
Yeah, I don't get the point of keeping him on the bench, right? You have him, you can talk about a win being invalidated or whatever, but you've gone through all these hoops already just to get to this point. You, I believe, are coming into this Tuesday case thinking you have a very strong chance of winning it. Like, I see no reason why to not play him right now. Like, even for Bediako's case, right? Like, even if you just look at the perspective of, look, we have gotten this guy to leave a professional basketball team to come play for us. And we believe we're going to have him for the whole season. But, there is a chance that this is his only shot at playing college basketball. Be a kind of shitty thing to do to not let him touch the court, right? I feel like. I think we'll see Bediako play in a pretty big role on Saturday.
Well, we will find out. We'll find out on Saturday at 7:30. We'll be in Coleman Coliseum giving you live updates for BamaCentral.com. Follow myself at Joe Gaither 6, Hunter DeCiver, all one word, or at Katie Wyndham _ We'll all be in Coleman Coliseum, and obviously we'll all be there today at 12:30 for Nate Oates' press conference. He's going to be speaking in the Coleman Coliseum press room, and we will find out. Really, I'm sure every single question is going to be about Charles Bediako, and every single question is going to be about playing him, not playing him, usage rate. I think we're going to get a lot of juice out of this 12:30 press conference with Nate Oates. Theo, you're not going to be there. You got to be responsible. You got to have class. So let me just ask you, if you got the microphone, hypothetically, what would be the one question you're asking Nate Oates?
Well, if I get the microphone, it's not going to be until the end of the press conference. So most of the stuff will have been asked. I guess the top question is just how did this come about? When did these conversations start? When did, we start really considering getting Bediako into the building? And what was that process like? Who was leading it? Was it Coach Murphy, who I would kind of expect to maybe have spearheaded the process? There's a lot of juice there. I mean, there's so many. We could have a 30-minute presser with Coach Oates and still want to know more at the end.
There's a chance we do have 30 minutes right here. We'll see how long he goes today. You can find it right there on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We'll have Nate Oates' press conference in its entirety as he's going to discuss the situation, tomorrow's game, the injury status of a lot of players, the availability of a lot of players, and just kind of all the backlash that he's received and how important it is to play Tennessee. Rick Barnes' Tennessee team is going to be pretty difficult. That does take us to, we should go over to Ken Palm, right, Theo, and look at what the predictions are for tomorrow's game. Alabama 18th in Mr. Kenny Pomeroy's rankings. Tennessee is 23rd. Alabama second in overall offense. Tennessee 41. Alabama 65, moving up just a little. 65 in defensive efficiency. And Tennessee is at 14 in defensive efficiency. Mr. Kenny Pomeroy predicts Alabama to win the game 85-80 right there in Coleman Coliseum. The Tennessee Volunteers, you're looking at big men because you're looking at big men, not terribly big. Felix Okpara, 6'11", 243 senior. There's your one big guy. Jalen Carey came over from Vanderbilt, 6'8", 260. Dwayne Brown, 6'8", 250, all kind of manning the post. JP Estrella, 6'11", as well, 6'11", 240. So they got several big old dudes. Aiden Terrell, you're going to have to be playing your tail off. Taylor Bowen, you're going to have to be pretty focused as well, along with Amari Allen in the rebounding department. Really, other than that, they don't have multiple 7-footers, and I don't think they're going to play a lot of them at the same time. It looks like Dwayne Brown at 6'8", 250, and Felix Okpara at 6'11", 240 are playing on the court a lot of the time at the same time. And Nate Ament, a freshman, a 6'10" freshman.
He is the highest rated recruit in Tennessee history, and man, like he's a stud, man. He is an incredible basketball player.
We'll find out. Nate Ament ended up, points, 17, 23. Goodness gracious. He's filling it up. He's filling it up.
There are three clear, best freshmen in the SEC, and he is,
Amari Allen,
Yeah.
Amari Allen, and Amari Allen.
He is right there. Like, he is just such a, like, it's hard to describe, he's a great basketball player on the court, and just the impact he has when he doesn't have the ball. He's just able to make things happen, man. He is a big-time basketball player.
Nate Ament against Kentucky in his most recent outing, 17 points, 4 rebounds. Looks like he's filling it. 27 points against Texas A&M, 28 against Florida, 28 against Texas, 24 against Arkansas. Man, he is crushing in his first season of the SEC. Amari Allen, you're going to have your hands full guarding him this weekend. We'll see what happens with the Tennessee Vols. I'm going to predict a big win, Theo. What about you?
Yeah, I think Alabama wins this game by double digits. This Tennessee team has talent, but has underperformed, to say the least. 2-3 in the last 5 games. Just, there's a lot of reason to be disappointed. He held a 17-point lead against Kentucky, and he couldn't get it done, which is, that speaks for itself, right? They allowed Kentucky to score 47 in the second half. Also think it's worth pointing out, for no reason in particular, that sophomore guard Ethan Berg on the team has played 2 years of professional basketball in Israel and is a pro player on this roster. Feels relevant.
Yeah, that's one big delineation that, like, I don't really know what to do with, because I was asked this yesterday on a mobile radio station about the difference between the Europeans who have played pro basketball but have not gone to college yet. And it's like, you're going to have to figure out a way to tighten these rules for everyone, both for the players who go to the G League and for the players who play European basketball. I don't know if there's the right way, if there's a right approach. I guess the right approach is if you play college basketball and left, then you're done. But it just doesn't feel so. So you're gonna have Nate Oates and company pivot from this Charles Bediako story to go scour the Spanish leagues, scour the Israeli leagues, the Russian leagues, all across Europe, and find other pros who, well, you haven't played college basketball yet. Do you want to come to Alabama? It seems like it just seems like there's a lot of loose ends, and one of them is the European basketball players.
And it's also funny because, like, European basketball players, they make a good salary, right? If you come to America and you get a top flight NIL contract, right? You are one of the best players in the EuroLeague. You are probably making $4 or $5 million a year. You're a hero in your country. Come to America, you're making that same money, right? There's someone who will pay you a crazy contract with all these endorsements, and you're still pulling in stuff from back home. Like, almost comparison would be when, like, an MLS team pays a European soccer player a big chunk of cash to come to America, and you do it for not only the money but for the publicity and for the being in the American market. And it's funny, like, guys can take, like, yeah, sure, I'll put my career in Europe on pause for a couple of years, come play in America, and maybe I only need to do this college thing for 1 year. I got what I needed out of it. Oh, this was fun, but I miss my country. And then you go back. Like, I think the solution to what you said, first of all, is I think players should be allowed to go through the draft process same way you can in baseball. I think you should be allowed to enter one time, either out of high school or in your college career. You get one entry where you can go, see where you get drafted, see where you end up, and then if you want to, you know what kind of contract you're looking at, you have all those details. And then you have like a week period to make the decision. No, I'm going to pull myself out. I'm coming to college. It adds another, wrinkle of, okay, how do teams navigate the draft? But when you look at the NBA draft, like, there's so many picks anyway that don't mean anything. Like, you have by the time you get to pick 25, you don't even really expect all these players to contribute all that much. I think that could be a system that allows a college athlete to get a read right on their situation, have a full understanding of the kind of money they could be making in the pros, and then make an educated choice on, you know what, I want to come back to college. It still doesn't address the European problem, but I think that's a start.
Well, a lot of things have to be cleaned up, and we will see if anything changes or anything improves in college basketball and really across college athletics with the eligibility stuff in general. Just circling back to Tennessee, they have marquee wins over Houston 76-73 in November. They beat Louisville 83-62. So those are probably your two, not probably, those are your two best wins according to KenPom. Houston number 4 in KenPom, Louisville number 16 in KenPom. Those are their two highest wins. Losing, obviously, to Arkansas. This is Tennessee. Losing to Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky this past weekend. And so really struggling in SEC play. Alabama going to be their next biggest test. Alabama at 18 in KenPom. They can add another skin on the wall if they come to Coleman and win. But we'll see what happens. 7:30 in Coleman Coliseum on Saturday. We will watch as Alabama takes on the Tennessee Vols. We'll watch to see what unfolds. Theo, any more basketball thoughts before we transition to football? I got 2 receivers, and I have some transfer portal rankings.
No, I'm going to stick with what I said. Bediako double-double. Alabama wins by double digits.
There we go. So we will watch and see what happens. And make sure you watch Theo on WVUA 23 as he breaks it down from the anchor desk. Theo, we also had some news yesterday. One commitment it was added to the class of 2026 for the Crimson Tide, and we never got to the one over the weekend because we were traveling. Maurice Mathis Jr. on Saturday on Sunday, basically joined the Alabama recruiting class, the class of 2026, wide receiver, 6'1", 180 out of Warner Robins Jr., Houston County High School. And then yesterday, Aubrey Walker from Moody High School, 5'9", 155. The skinny boy is added to the class of 2026. So Alabama adds 2 wide receivers this week to round out the class of 2026. It's hard to... Personally, I kind of forgot that the class of 2026 is still active because next Wednesday, the Wednesday after is the official, 2 Wednesdays, not the 28th, but February 4th is the official signing date for the class of 2026. Most of the 26ers are already signed, and a lot of them are already enrolled. But Alabama adding 2 wide receivers. I mean, you lost Owen Cabell and you lost Brian Williams Jr.
Yes.
Not Brian Thomas. I kept going in the head if it's Brian Williams or Brian Thomas. You lost Owen Cabell to Vanderbilt, and you lost Brian Williams Jr. to Auburn. Flipped from Alabama to Auburn because he had a relationship with Alex Golesh. So you really only had Cedarian Morgan in the recruiting class from a wide receiver standpoint. And, of course, you want to make sure that your numbers look good. You go out and find these 2 young men, Maurice Mathis Jr., MJ Mathis is what he's listed as on his huddle tape. Unranked prospect, no rankings for 24/7 Sports, which that really doesn't mean anything. You look at his other comparable offers, Samford, Vanderbilt, Appalachian State, Arkansas State, so not like the sexiest of offers in the world, but you'll take somebody's Vanderbilt is chasing him as well, so he's got to be somewhat of a decent player. 6'1", 180, as we said, out of Houston County High School in Warner Robins, Georgia. And then Aubrey Walker, 3-star prospect, ranked by 24/7 Sports, is rated as a top 100 prospect in the state of Alabama. And his comparable offers, were Troy, UAB, Western Kentucky, Alabama State. So 2 guys who are extremely underrated, 2 guys who are not highly recruited, but 2 guys added to the wide receiver room to basically make sure that your numbers look right. You're at what wide receiver? You're at 8 now, right? 8 wide receivers now. So what did you make? Have you looked at Aubrey Walker at all? You can look at his junior season on the huddle. He was the one who came yesterday from Moody High School. What do you think about adding another wide receiver to this room, to this class?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. Walker, he posted, photo on Twitter of him in an Alabama jersey as a kid, said dream school since college. Like, it's cool to see. Little pretty hilarious note. He was tagging all his coaches and tagging all the people, on Twitter. His first tag was the Kalen DeBoer burner account.
Heck yeah.
Thought he was tagging, DeBoer, got the burner. Look, it's cool. It's always nice to add a player like that who, look, he'll develop for a year in the system and never hurt to have extra bodies, right? And
he's fast.
He is.
Runs a 4.340 according to his huddle, and I'm watching his tape right here, and it is just throw the ball out to him on a short pass and let him run.
Yeah, so we'll see what we get out of those guys. Obviously not people we'd expect to really see the field this year, but we definitely needed to add people to the room.
Little gadget guy, little Tyreek Hill.
That'd be real cool if it worked out that way.
Why wouldn't it?
No reason for it not to.
Moody's 4A, aren't they?
I think they're 5. I could be wrong. You might. I was thinking 5. You might, because they won a state title this year
in football.
Yeah, I thought so.
Let's find out. Moody High School football. Let's find out if that's the truth or not. Moody is 5A, and yes, they won the region. They won a region. They won a state.
Yeah,
they won
the
state
title. Okay,
they ended up. They beat Viger. Okay, they beat Viger, who I saw them. I saw Viger
against Northside.
Right. So they beat Corner, Priceville, Briarwood, Scottsboro, and Viger in the playoffs. Any of these other names, they beat Gainesville, Georgia. They were like 14-2.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought Moody had a really special season this year.
Yeah, how many wins is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 5, 13-2. 13-2. They lost to Auburn High School. They lost to Gainesville, Georgia, but basically wrecked everybody else. 42-21. So yeah, this is going to be a good little player. Now we'll see if he has what his contribution level is. I would expect him to just be, a scholarship body. I wouldn't expect him to come to campus and, dominate like I do for Cedarian Morgan, but he's fast. He's running straight down the field, running past people.
So he's a plus.
5A, that's not tiny high school football either. I mean, obviously that is not 7A, but you're doing okay. Running out of the slot here, basically tracking the ball, good ball skills, fast, hard to keep up with. Now a little undersized, but that never hurt nobody. All right, let's look at MJ Mathis real quick. I got an MJ Mathis junior tape on Huddle as well, and he's listed 5'11", 180 as well on the Huddle. His 24/7 page has him listed as 6'1", so maybe we need to update one of those pages right there. So he's somewhere between 5'11" and 6'1", and this becomes another unranked prospect that you bring in. Okay, a little hitch and go. He's running right past somebody. I mean, obviously this is highlights, so you never know. You can't really see weaknesses as well, but you see strengths and getting off the line fairly well and being a nice little hands catcher in these first couple of clips here for MJ Mathis. Is this anything other than just making sure the numbers are right and not spending an exorbitant amount of money as your class is almost already done?
Yeah, that's mostly what it comes down to here. I mean, you're happy with the room. You think you can get enough production out of the guys you have. And hey, I bet you there's stuff they like about these players. It's not to say that they can't ever, do something in a Crimson Tide uniform. It obviously won't come this year, but especially it's always great to add a guy from the state who wants to play here. That's always just so special no matter what, right? So especially
all he's doing on this Huddle tape is running past defensive backs and catching long bombs for MJ Mathis. So we'll see if he can get him out in space and catch some long bombs as Alabama's trying to be more and more explosive in the passing game. Obviously, it's going to be the Ryan Williams, Lozier Brooks, Rico Scott show. Noah Rogers as well next season. So we'll see if MJ Mathis and if Aubrey Walker, if they even stick around, and how they develop here in Tuscaloosa. So yesterday's news, and that's really why we're talking about it now, is the addition of Aubrey Walker from Moody High School. And we will see how he does as he helps to round out the wide receiver room. All right, Theo, I've just got one more topic for the day. People can feel free to chime in. You've got oh, my man Jay's got a lot of critiques right here talking about Ty Simpson. Gave most of us. Oh, overall, we did an A. You guys crushed it. Great analysis. Love the voicemail line. You can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. He talked about, too often the takes on Ty were too hot and too cold. So not very well nuanced. The hot and cold takes drove me crazy. Ty is an excellent quarterback. His performance is very due to injury and inexperience, as any quarterback would. I appreciate Jay for watching and commenting on the show. Keith Connell saying, "Hey Jay, roll Tide." Trying to connect with that. It's time to enable Super Chat. Theo, maybe you can help me figure out how to do that.
That would make things a lot more fun over here.
So we're going to have a lot of fun. I got one more topic for us today as we are here on a Friday. I hope you all are having a great Friday. But before we get into it, we want to remind you the program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certifications, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. Call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-PT-ROOF-5. That's 877-787-6635. You call them today, they'll come out, give you a free roof inspection, let you know if you got any trouble spots, any cracks in your roof, any holes in your roof, any leaks in your roof. Do a stress test on it to make sure that you are good to go in your home. Call them today at 877-787-6635. There's winter weather ahead. Make sure that your roof is giving you the protection that you need. Call Purple Turtle Roofing today for your free roof inspection. All right, Theo Fernandez, you feeling good? You sleepy?
I'm feeling great. Now I'm ready to roll.
Just checking. I also stayed up later than we talked about it before the show. I also stayed up a little later than I should have this morning. Yesterday, I was writing the cover for BamaCentral.com. I didn't even hit publish on it until this morning because I left the screen in the holding zone, basically in the holding screen before it actually published. But it did go up at 8 o'clock this morning, right when we walked into the studio. And that's where I want to go to, Theo. I want to get your opinion on just the take. Katie Wyndham asked me to rank the 5 most important or 5 best transfer portal players that Alabama got in the portal. So I went out there and followed her instructions. I said, yes, ma'am, we can definitely do that. And I didn't have that tough a time, but I had 2 honorable mentions that I think could have cracked the top 5. I want you to think about your top. Alabama added 19 players in the transfer portal, 6 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen. You added a linebacker. You've added a defensive back. You've added a wide receiver. You haven't added a running back quite yet. You're good on quarterback. You added a kicker. I almost put kicker Lachlan Quinn in there because if Lachlan Quinn ends up being really, really solid, then he will be probably a top 5 transfer portal addition. I do think that he's got potential to be, but I ended up going with a lot of linemen, a lot of offensive, a lot of defensive linemen, because I just thought that that's where Alabama needed the most help. So I'm just going to give you my 5. I'll tell you why. Give you more time to think it through. You can look. The transfer portal tracker is right there in that article. It's like the 3rd or 4th big block, so you can see everybody that Alabama got in if you need to see it really clearly. Number 5, I ended up putting wide receiver Noah Rogers. I do think that Noah Rogers is going to be important because I think you want to round out the wide receiver room. I think that Ryan Williams is probably going to be your lead receiver next season as he moves back to the outside. I think Lazier Brooks, Rico Scott, all going to be super effective. I do see a role for Derek Meadows and Cenarian Morgan, but a wide receiver with power 4 experience, 6'2", bigger body, not like the biggest, not Isaiah Horton 6'4", but a nice size at 6'2". Has college experience in the ACC. I think he's going to pretty much be a second or third option in this offense in the passing game when you think about wide receivers. I think Lazier Brooks, Rico Scott are all going to kind of be playing with that number 2 role, which will sometimes be the number 1 role. It depends on what Ryan is doing. But I think Noah Rogers is going to have a good little season. 68 passes, 919, and 3 touchdowns in 2 years for Noah Rogers. I think that he will catch 40 passes. I think he'll catch himself 40, 45 passes and ultimately end up with 700 to 850 yards. And I think he'll end up with probably 3 to 4 touchdowns. So I think that his addition is very important for Alabama. Number 4, I ended up with Ethan Fields. Ethan Fields, guard, transfer from Ole Miss, played 5 games for Ole Miss this past year. I think 4 games in 2023. So redshirted. He's going to be a redshirt junior. Alabama, we've talked about the offensive line ad nauseum, and we will continue to talk about the offensive line for the next 225 days. I think the offensive line is the biggest area of concern, biggest area of need, and you're able to bring in somebody with SEC experience to challenge for one of these guard starting positions. I think he's going to challenge William Sanders or challenge Caden Strayhorn. I think the 2 of those 3 guys will be starting at guard. I think Casey Poe is in that mix as well. But I'm putting Ethan Fields at number 4 just because of the starting factor and the need along the offensive line. Number 3, I'm going with Javen James, the transfer from Mississippi State. Mississippi State, you lost a left tackle. You're going to be playing a new left tackle for the first time in 3 seasons coming up this year after Caden Proctor manned that spot for the last 3 years. Caden Proctor going to get drafted at 23, at 19, at 18, somewhere in the NFL draft coming up. You need a new left tackle. It could be Jackson Lloyd. It could be Ty Haywood. But I think that you go out and get 6'5", 320-pound tackle Javen James. 21 starts across his time in college football. Spent some time at Akron, spent some time at Mississippi State, is now up with Alabama, and it gives you a guy that's like, well, if Jackson Lloyd's not ready, if Ty Haywood isn't ready, at least Javen James can do it. And I think, obviously, left tackle, hugely important, so I put Javen James number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list is center Rayson Delgatti, because I don't see another center on this roster. Well, there's a couple guys, but I don't see another primary center. I think Caden Strayhorn, transfer from Michigan, could play center. I think William Sanders and Casey Poe could play center. But Rayson Delgatti's been playing center for the last 2 seasons for Cal Poly. Yes, they are on the FCS level. We get that. But he was all Big Sky, second team in 2025. Ended up with starting all 12 games last year, started 9 games the year before. So he has a lot of experience playing center. You lost a center in Parker Brailsford, who's been here for the last 2 seasons and knows the system. I think getting a center with experience is hugely important. He just gave up 11 pressures on 460 pass blocking snaps last season. And I think he looks like a mean son of a gun on tape. Right there, I know it's FCS, but he does have nice size. 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds. So he's right there in your range that you want for your SEC starting center. I put center Rayson Delgatti number 2 for me because, the offensive plays start right there in the middle. The ball has to be snapped, and the center has to give you some protection up the middle and or drive off the football to open up some lanes. And number 2 for me is Terrence Green, Oregon defensive lineman. Comes in and is probably going to be taking over the Tim Keenan nose tackle role, a spot that you really didn't have. You really don't have a lot of candidates that were already on the roster ready to do that. Maybe Edric Hill could have done that. Maybe Steve Bonabumwa could have done that. but I don't love their fits really at nose guard. I like their fits better as 3 technique, as really the defensive tackle role. So I think Terrence Green becomes hugely important because he gives you the nose guard capability. I do think you're going to get some nose guard capability in Kedrick Bingley Jones. So I do think that position is going to be rotated a little bit between Terrence Green, Kedrick Bingley Jones, little Edric Hill, and a little bit of Steve Bolo Boomwa. But you bring in somebody who's got a lot of experience. He's a redshirt, going to be a redshirt junior. Played in Dan Lanning's defense for Tosh Lapoy. Really strong coaching out there, and it's a position of need. Look, I put center and basically nose tackle, the 2 transfers, as 1 and 2 because the plays begin and end right there in the middle of the field, right there in the middle of the formation. And if you are weak at nose tackle and you don't have anybody holding up the blocks, then your linebackers who are inexperienced, talented but inexperienced, are going to have a harder time getting off blocks and making plays. I think Terrence Green is going to be really important for these young linebackers to be able to move freely and to be able to make some plays. So for me, Alabama's number 1 transfer is Terrence Green. I put for honorable mention 2 other defensive linemen because I do think the defensive line is very, very important, and I don't know that Alabama got okay defensive line play, not amazing, not bad, but above average, little bit above average. Put Devin Tompkins, transfer from USC, and Desmond Umeazulu, the edge rusher from South Carolina, as my 2 honorable mentions. Theo, what do you think about the top 5 transfers for the Crimson Tide so far?
Yeah, Joe, so I agree with your top 3. I would go the same 3 in that order, I would say. After that, it gets a little, I guess, fuzzy for me. I like Tompkins a lot. I think that he is someone who I would give us one of those spots to. Then I look at Ty Haywood, and I think that he brings, a very high ceiling with him. I think he is a guy who could end up playing a massive role on this football team. And it's just tough looking at those linemen and trying to evaluate them.
Certainly.
Like, I think you could ask me every single week from now until August, and we could have flip-flop guys the whole time. So I would probably lean Haywood over Fields right now. And then I guess my other Noah Rogers. He does some nice things, right? He does some cool things on a football field, but I wonder what his role on this team is. Like, you look at Ryan and Lazier coming 1-2. You look at Rico Scott making the decision to come back. Is there an expanded role for him on this team? And then how quickly does Sedarian Morgan come onto the scene? Like, I'd almost expect Sedarian Morgan to replicate what Lazier Brooks did this year, right? Like, that level of freshman year production. Morgan is insanely talented.
32 catches, 441, and 2 touchdowns for Lazier Brooks.
Yeah, like, I could absolutely see Morgan coming out and doing it, and then the implication would be that Brooks takes a jump to putting up star numbers, right? And then Ryan comes out of the downswing. No matter what Ryan does, and almost, doesn't matter, knowing that he'll get a fair share of the targets. Like, I wonder how much Rodgers is going to play. I'm going to leave him out of my top 5 for now. I'm going to go Tompkins 4, Haywood 5. And then I want to give an honorable mention to
Larkin Quinn.
I want to give an honorable mention to Adam Watford. I want to say, this is a guy who he would have ranked 10th in the FBS in punts per kick.
Okay. I like this zigzag.
We are looking at 46.6 yards per attempt. Punt to 74 yards. I forget the number of punts over 50, but it was an FCS record. It was a lot. It was Alex Asparuhoff, you came here as the number 2 punter in your class. You might be sitting behind a guy again this year.
And he dealt with injury, Asparuhoff, this season. But I think that dealing with injury Put a question mark on him with this coaching staff. They didn't push him out. He's not pushed out by any means, but I think put a question mark on him, and they had to. Well, if he's got a question mark, we got a punter right up the road at North Alabama that we can go snag.
No, this guy to me, and look, I watched a bunch of his tape and stuff just because I was anchoring that day and I was watching him kick, and man,
booming that ball.
He has a leg. I think Adam Watford will win the starting punter job, and I think Alabama fans will be very, very impressed by what this guy can do. He's from Dothan. I mean, it's a cool story. I think that he will have a big impact on this football team.
All right, so I'm just going to reset so it makes a nice and clean clip. My top 5 transfers, and really my top 7 transfers for Alabama so far in the transfer portal. Number 1, defensive lineman Terrence Green. Number 2, center Rayson Delgatti. Number 3, Javen James, offensive lineman from Mississippi State. Number 4, Ethan Fields, offensive lineman from Ole Miss. Number 5, I'm taking Noah Rogers, NC State wide receiver. And then my honorable mentions are Southern California defensive lineman Devin Tompkins and South Carolina edge rusher Desmond Umeazulu.
My top 5, starting with defensive lineman Terrence Green. Number 2, center Rayson Delgatti. 3, offensive tackle Javen James. 4, we're going to go offensive lineman Ty Haywood. 5, we're going to go Devin Tompkins from USC, and my honorable mention is going to be North Alabama punter Adam Watford.
There we go. So let us know what your thoughts are on the transfer portal so far. We appreciate everybody who's been hanging out with the show. One note is the running back, Miami running back Pringle. What was his name? Gerard Pringle Jr. Thank you. Has announced that he is not staying in the transfer portal. He's returning to Miami. So there was a little bit of rumors, there was a little bit of thoughts about Alabama maybe getting involved with Gerard Pringle Jr., bringing in another running back. I do want to see Alabama bring in another running back. Maybe there's somebody in the class of 2026. Maybe there's somebody that's experienced out there. I'm sure there's a billion running backs in the transfer portal. We'll just see if the one can land with Alabama if you still need that. One thing I found pretty interesting, Theo, was the Miami faithful. As soon as Gerard Pringle was thrown out, he's going to the transfer portal. People, well, Alabama's tampering with him. Alabama's trying to get him in the portal, trying to tamper with him. Pretty rich discussion coming from the Miami faithful, who are tampering and have been tampering with every quarterback known to man. Specifically from the Alabama side, Ty Simpson, trying to get him to go in the portal before it already made his NFL draft declaration. Now currently with Duke's Darian Mensah. So really rich commentary from the Miami people. Like, I understand it's frustrating, and I wish that nobody tampered. I wish that were just the world we lived in, the operation that we were, the space we're operating in. But so sorry if Alabama was trying to single out a running back and get him in the portal and trying to get him to the team. I don't really have any problems with tampering in general because everybody's doing it. If it was just a couple people were doing it, I would have a much bigger problem with it. But I think it's just the world we live in, and the NCAA and the conference commissioners and really the powers that be need to figure out a way to curb the tampering. If we found out that you tampered, the penalty is XYZ, or do. Get us to the point where we need to be, where all these kids are employees and you have contracts, and you can talk to me, sure, but I'm under contract for 2 more years, so I can't go.
So I only briefly saw the story, but is Alabama going to have to pay South Carolina a buyout?
That's what it seems like.
Like, we're just going to have to send over a 6-figure payout for this guy to come play for us?
It certainly seems that way, based on just. I think they're going to try to South Carolina is going to try to enforce Desmond Umeazulu's transfer portal buyout. According to reports by Jordan Kay, South Carolina pursuing a buyout that would either have to be paid by Umeazulu or Alabama. So one of the sides, probably both the sides, are going to have to come together and pay the buyout for Umeazulu to play here. 6-figure buyout. And I mean, that's going to help things as well. If you have you want my player, you pay his buyout, you can have him, and they're no harm, no foul.
What I would expect to see now is these smaller schools have to really get on this and, work out we've got you on a multi-year deal as an athlete and it's easy to get out of. But look, these bigger schools, they just have to pay, this X buyout, and you can tie it into percentage of what the school's given the player in NIL, right? I think that there is something here with, obviously Alabama having to pay out some money to a fellow conference opponent is kind of funny, but I think that's the future. And I think it's a good change, especially for these smaller schools. If we can work out a system where you're getting compensated for developing athletes, I think that could lead to some improvements overall.
Well, we're going to get out of here for the day. We're going to go over to the Coleman Coliseum Media Room to hear from Nate Oates. You can see that on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. We'll be able to put that up there and write all kinds of updates on BamaCentral.com. Theo, just before we get out of here, what are you feeling? Early thoughts, 30 seconds on the quarterback competition that we'll get to talk about for the next 225 days. Are you going to be team Keelan Russ? I mean, you can change teams, obviously, but today, are you team Keelan Russell or team Austin Mack? Are you building up the Austin Mack camp or are you building up your Keelan Russell camp?
I believe I am firmly in the Keelan Russell camp.
Okay, that's good. That's good because I think that Austin Mack right now has the inside track.
All right. It'll be a fun talk, then.
So we'll see as we keep going. We want to take your voicemails at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can be a part of the show. If you want to have your voice heard, you can leave us comments at Theo Fernandez _, at Joe Gaither 6, at BamaCentral. We'll find your comments and we'll talk about them on the program. And we'll see you on Monday. Win, lose, or draw. How many points will Charles Bediako score? Is he going to dominate the game on Saturday? Lots of things to talk about on Monday right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com.